Katie here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I am up today with a 12x12 layout using multi-photos, and today I'm actually using two different sizes of multi-photos too. Now, what I'm trying to show you here with my hands is that sometimes in papers or paper pads, this is from a One Canoe 2 paper pad, we get papers that are quite busy, full on and just not our style. Now, obviously everyone's different, and the paper that I just showed you had a lot of like canoe paddles on it. And for someone who does outdoorsy stuff with canoes or, boating or things like that, this paper would be amazing. That's not me. And so I knew that I would never use this paper. Maybe to back photos and things like that, to be honest. I possibly would have used it for that. But with some paper pads, what I wanted to show you is that sometimes paper pads they're only single-sided. And so the back are plain white. And what you can do is just flip them over and use the white side, which is what I'm doing here. Particularly helpful to obviously not waste things. But, if you're like me and you go through a lot of white cardstock, this is fabulous. So sometimes, and on this one, it is definitely the case, it was a specialty paper. So there were some gold sections in the paper. Now, if you look very closely at the white paper, and I mean very closely, you can see the indentation of the gold that was added as the specialty paper, which in this case is arrows. You can definitely see that. Does it bother me? No. If it bothers you though, then obviously you wouldn't use this particular paper. The whole paper pad is double-sided. This is Creekside collection from One Canoe 2. And same with that big Take a Hike cut apart. They had some 4x6 cut aparts that all had phrases on them. And so I'm using one of those for my title. And then I'm backing my photos as layering pieces with the others because I knew I wouldn't use them. So this is actually for a challenge in another group I'm a part of, and it was to use difficult paper on your layouts. And I really wanted to show you guys how easy it is to use those difficult papers in different ways. So again, as you can see, I've used I've turned it over to use it as white cardstock. And then I am using, I guess, what some people might consider a difficult paper as well as my kind of border paper. And it's a scene paper. It is painted. One Canoe 2 has beautiful paint, sort of watercolory paint. I'm not a painter, so I don't know the official terms. But beautiful designs from their artists. But sometimes I find it difficult to use those more, I guess, realistic designs on my pages, and so I'm using it as a border, so you can just see a little strip of it at the end. You'll see what I mean. So I'm really happy with how this came together, and I just wanted to show you different ways that you can use up those papers that you might struggle with. And I particularly love with the paper pads when they're not double-sided and you have papers that you don't like, you can absolutely flip them over and use them as white cardstock. And if you don't love it, if it's, you can see a little bit of the pattern coming through, then use it to back your photos. Like I often back my photos in white cardstock. And so this would be perfect for that. So definitely, think about other ways to use those hard to use papers. Now, I fussy cut all of these florals from one of the One Canoe collections. I don't know if it was Creekside. I can't remember. Oh, it might have been Creekside actually, from the 12x12 papers. And yeah, really happy. I've used them, I think, almost all up now on a couple of layouts. And I'm just creating a couple of little clusters with things that are sort of related to the outdoorsy stuff, because this was in the middle of our lockdowns. I'm pretty sure my son was home with us. He was home for about 2 and a bit weeks at the height of our lockdowns. My husband, no, he's not my husband. Why would I say that? Everyone calls him my husband. We're not actually married. My partner is a teacher, so he's considered an essential worker, and so we were actually able to send our son to childcare, but we were trying to do the right thing and keep him home just to stop, people moving about, which was the aim of our lockdown. But to be honest, we lasted 2 and a bit weeks, and it was just too tricky for us all to be working, and because we were lucky enough that my partner is considered an essential worker, we were able to send Link to childcare, and so we did send him back, which he loves. But yes, in this time we were outside having a walk around. You can see he's all rugged up because it's the middle of winter in July, and he's got his little beanie on that his grandma made him. And you can see in the top photo, that selfie, we're going for a walk. And so this kind of take a hike concept works. At least I think it works. And so I'm just adding some little clusters to the floral. So I added some form of word phrase into each of the clusters as well. So I add a little hiking pack. I mean, you know, because obviously we're hiking. We were walking close enough. And then I'm popping up the little phrase that says wild and free, because I think that works well for my son. And so that's the cluster on the left-hand side. And then I'm pretty sure I moved to the cluster on the right. But maybe I do the top cluster first. Oh, who knows? Your guess is as good as mine, folks. There you go. Cluster on the right. So I'm going to stick down all my florals. And then I've got a cute little love heart that just says wander, which I thought was cute. And, you know, very apt because that's what Lincoln's doing. He's going for an explore. He'd only been walking for a couple of months maybe, and so he was really loving that kind of chance to explore the world around him and to walk any chance he could get. So we would often walk to the end of our street, then he'd get too tired and I'd have to carry him home. But he loved it. And so we're lucky also we have buses that come down our street, and he loves buses, so we often sort of walked the street until a bus came, and then he was super excited and we could go home. Okay. So I apologise. It's quite a few hours later in, you know, the voiceover land. I had a phone call and Jess wanted me to go and do something, so I had to. I've left the house and then come back. So I don't remember exactly what I've told you in this voiceover because, you know, I'm a bit time poor and I didn't listen back to what I've already said. I do know I was talking about Lincoln going on his adventures. Yeah, so this is the last cluster to finish. Oh, and then I'll show you how I am matting this whole layout onto some more difficult paper because that's the theme of this video. Sorry, I've got a little frog in my throat. Oh, now these are stickers from a couple of, these are mainly Creekside, I'm not sure, Saturday afternoon, I can't remember. The collection from One Canoe 2. But what I actually did, because I was kind of playing around a little bit with this layout, and so what I actually did was I kind of sort of took the sticky off the stickers by just putting it on my skin, like my arm, often on my arm a few times to de-stick, and then I could just sort of play around with placement. But what that meant was obviously I needed to add glue. So you saw me adding glue to all of those stickers, so that I didn't have to do that. They're perfectly sticky normally, but I was just playing around with placement and stuff. So you can see here, this is my other piece of difficult paper that I'm using to mat my layout. So that's you can get a good look at the, what do you call them? The oars that are on the back of the page that I just knew that I personally would never use. And then the scenery paper, which I'm adding as my kind of background, and I'm matting my papers onto there. And I'm really happy with this. So I used up a full 12 by 12. Now, yes, I could have gutted that 12 by 12 paper as the background, but I knew I wouldn't use it. And I have enough paper. I'll be honest, I have enough paper. So I was totally okay with, you know, with not gutting it. If it was a paper I loved, I would absolutely gut it. So I do sometimes gut the kind of inside bits of the paper when I do my matting. I absolutely sometimes do, but if I know it's not a paper that I love and that I'm not particularly that worried about using, then I'm happy to not gut it. You know, each to their own, but that's just me. Now I am adding some navy Heidi Swap Colour Shine. I don't know what I'm going to do when this runs out. This is honestly my favourite mist. I'm sure I'll find something else to replace it, but you know, it'll be a sad day when my navy runs out. There's still a fair amount left, so I'm not too worried. It's hard to tell because you can't see through the bottles. But anyway, I digress. I added navy and gold to this layout and I am finished. I will show you the close-up. And thank you so much for watching. So I hope you are having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Thanks guys. Bye.